discussing, that you feel like you could just say that instead of appreciate that this is two intellectuals discussing something that's very complex, and that it was about immigration and about Islam, and those are two things that people don't want to hear. You know, they just like to go, those two things are off limits.
Yeah.
Unless you're pro-Islam or pro-immigration, you better shut the fuck up or we're going to demonetize you. And that kind of censorship is fascinating to me because it's not effective. It just makes people go, hey, and you know, and then it makes the people on the YouTube side get defensive, and it makes them double down, and you know, and you're seeing
it makes
that.
things worse.
Yeah, you see that now. I mean, you see it with many people. It's a weird time for ideas.
Yeah. How do you feel about being part of the IDW?
The International Dork Web. I'm the least mentioned person in that group. I'm very happy about that. I don't like being in any groups. What did Groucho Marx once say? I don't want to be a part of any club that would have me. It's just, look, I'm very happy to be able to have a platform where I can have people like you on, or any of those people, whether it's Brett Weinstein or Eric Weinstein. Sorry, guys. Brett Weinstein, Eric. They got, after Harvey, everybody got real
Yeah, I've spoken to Brett. He's really sweet.
He's great.
Yeah.
And his wife, Heather, is amazing as well.
He'll be on actually the next season of Wrong Speak.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Heather Hying, his wife, is amazing too.
She is, yeah.
And they were on together. And Sam Harris is a good friend, and I love that guy. And he's a fascinating person, and as is Jordan. And look, I don't agree with a lot of what Ben Shapiro says, but he's a super nice guy, and I really like him. You know, and that's you saw that thing that happened with that actor, Mark, was his name? Mark Duplass, is that his name? Got in trouble for tweeting that you know, Ben is a very nice and reasonable person.
Aisle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun time.
Ben is really nice too.
He's a really nice guy. You know, I like him a lot. This internet, whatever it is, the dark web thing, that's all Eric. Eric Weinstein's idea was to name this and label it. He loves all that shit. He loves all that cloak and dagger stuff. He gets a kick out of it. But he makes some very good points, and he's a brilliant, brilliant guy.
He is.
And this idea that we're all joined together, I mean, we all went out, we had a big dinner together like a bunch of dorks, and we all got together, and we're like this little club. And it's kind of fun, and we're going to do it again. And we're bringing more people in, too. We're bringing more people into the dork web.
Good.
And some people are resentful that they're not a part of the dork web. I'll tell you some names afterwards, but some people like contacted Barry Weiss and were upset that they weren't included in the dork web.
I loved Barry's column.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It's the whole, but the label of it all. I mean, what's interesting is it starts this conversation, right? As to why is it even necessary to have this dark web, and what's the function of this dark web, and what is the dark web doing really? Like what is, you know? And there was an article today where someone was calling it problematic and saying that it's mostly right-leaning people, which is absolutely not true. Sam Harris, very left. Brett Weinstein, fiercely progressive. Eric, very left. I'm way more left than I am right. The very few right-wing ideas that I hold on to, they're very small. The vast majority of my positions on things side with people on the left. Vast majority. Ben Shapiro is very right, but he's reasonable, you know, and he's also a young guy, you know, conservative, religious. But he's also extremely intelligent and reasonable when you talk to him. And he has himself disavowed some of the things that he said, and he's himself criticized his own words that he wrote a whole column. Here's a list of all the stupid things I've ever said online. You know, and because he's you know, he's a very aware guy, very self-aware. I think it's important to have discussions. And I think it's important that when people feel like those discussions are being suppressed, that they talk about that. And I think that's what this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And I think you're a part of that as well.
I was in the column, yeah.
We could use you in the dork web.
Okay.
We need a woman of color.
You do, to
We
prove
do.
that you guys aren't all racists.
Yeah, I know. Too much white people. God damn it. I took 23andMe, and I'm hoping I got some black in me.
Yeah.
I'm praying.
I'm hoping for you too.
Just give me some. Give me more than 5%. What is it that you have to have? I think you only have to have like 1/16 Native American to catch a check in some places.
I'm not